Kung Fu Cowboy, tennis shoes on my feet. I'm a Kung Fu Cowboy, hamburgers to eat. I'm a Kung Fu Cowboy.
Hello, Kung Fu Cowboy here. All right. And I found this. Remember I told you I've done all kinds of marketing things. And in my notebook with 8 podcasts, I looked in the Kung Fu Cowboy podcast. And I'd written down this thing of things to basically cover, explain about me, or answer questions when I was studying marketing. Here we go. We finished half the page. Let's see how far we can get on the next one. I'm doing it and trying to keep the videos under 15 minutes. I mean, maybe I should keep them 8 minutes. Can't get very far with that. But anyway, for right now, let's see what we can do. I've got 8 more things to do. And I've got to answer these questions. Why does Kung Fu Cowboy make music? That's pertinent. this whole podcast is going to be about me and my music and my movies and everything. So, heck, that's I want to know. Why do I do this? All right, number 1. Kung Fu Cowboy plays electric guitar since 1966. Inspired by Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix, Jimmy Page, Led Zeppelin, and Rory Gallagher. And there's a few others too, but those are the main ones. Okay, so I'm playing guitar because I basically, as I mentioned previously, I got a musician spirit. I'd already been playing piano and trombone and harmonica. And I wanted to play drums, but my parents wouldn't let me. Well, they wouldn't let me play guitar either. In fact, when they sold, I told them I traded my trombone and get me a guitar. They took my trombone, cashed it in at Ozzy's Music, but said, no, we're not going to buy you a guitar. Are you kidding? You know, we don't want you playing that colored music. Yeah, back when I was a kid, that's what my parents called them, as colored people. I don't know what they call them now. I avoid conversations about race with them because they're. It's not my job to make them non-racist at this point. My dad's 103 years old, and my mom's 93, and my brothers are just a few years younger than me, so. I don't think I can change them. If anything, they'll just get mad at me for trying to change them. So anyway, just trying to get along. So I just avoid things that cause controversy. So anyway, I play music because of those guys. Now, why is that of any significance? Well, these kind of shaped my attitude towards music. So let's take them real quickly. Let's see. Eric Clapton. Now, I started playing to John. Remember, I come from the blues. So I started playing in 1966. And at that time, all the rock and roll and everything was still based on the blues. So no matter what was going on in the rock and roll world that I was paying attention to, it was the blues that was the foundation and the resource for all that was going on in my musical world. And so Eric Clapton, of course, was a blues guy and was basically had been in I just said John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. And I got that album. There's a couple good songs on there. But it's the blues, you know, and I was into the blues. And so I'd try to find blues songs that I liked. And like all music, I don't like every song, but I'd find some blues songs that I really liked. And so Eric Clapton was, to me, a connection to the blues. So through him kind of taking the blues and modernizing it, I was finding a kind of a connection to the blues through him. Later, as I spell in my song Blues Soul by Kung Fu Cowboy, I explain how later in the 80s, when I was working for the Directors Guild of America, the DGA in Hollywood, the librarian made me a cassette of all these really rare blues artists, which were probably a lot harder to access, but it was the Directors Guild library, so they had everything there. And so he made me a couple of cassettes, collections of all these, and labeled them out too with all of them. It was just a really nice thing to do. He was a really nice guy. And so I actually got to go back to the source, you know, even later when I can talk about that, but I've gone through a lot of sources and blues people. I told all kinds of stories about researching the blues. But anyway, and then Jimi Hendrix Now, Jimi Hendrix just knocked my socks off. One of my favorite albums of all times is the first one, the Are You Experienced album, the very first one with that really psychedelic, distorted, LSD-inspired kind of album cover. I love every song on that album. Is just so great, but it's really guitar heavy. I've never been, even though when I was in three pieces and I was playing Johnny Winter and stuff on guitar, and I was doing a pretty decent job of it, but I never tried to be the show off, the showman. I was always still playing the song. I never tried to make everybody think I'm the best guitar player. So Jimi Hendrix, though, that was obviously what he did on that first album. And I love the second album. Then the second album I love because it shows what a great guitarist can do when he's really writing great songs, and he's trying to make them less about his own guitaring and more about the song. He was getting more into the songs on the second album. That's Axe as Bold as Love. And then I've got the next few albums, and he was going downhill. Heroin never improves anybody's ability, which is the same with Eric Clapton. I've only walked out on, I think, two concerts in my life, maybe three, but two are right offhand I can think of. No, there's three. I can think of a third one, but actually that third one. Okay. Yeah, that third one actually was Eric Clapton. Sorry. That was in that place down by the Rickenbacker factory, open air arena, amphitheater type of thing. And I was a photojournalist. I was hired to do, I think Cinderella played as an opening act. So I was down there, I saw Cinderella, I think I shot some pictures, and then I got to stay and I could see Eric Clapton, and he was dreadful. I couldn't sit through it. After about three songs, maybe at the most, three songs, I couldn't bear it. I couldn't watch it. And so I left. I walked out on Eric Clapton. Yeah, I thought he sucked so bad, and I was really, whatever year that was, it was mid-'80s. So whatever was going on in his life or wherever he was in drug addiction or whatever, he was rotten. In fact, here's another giveaway on which concert tour that was. He had, I think it's Mark Knopfler playing guitar. And Mark Knopfler was playing his solos better than he was. Mark Knopfler was just kicking his butt all over the place. I mean, it was like obvious. They must have known that Eric Clapton couldn't even hold the weight of his own show. He had to have Mark Knopfler there to play guitar. Otherwise, it wouldn't have even sounded good. It was so bad. But anyway, I walked out on Eric Clapton. I also walked out on another one of my favorite bands who I'd gone to see, which was Savoy Brown, because I loved their original singer, Chris Youlden. And their music, he wrote a lot of their music. My favorite album by them is actually the Raw Sienna album, my favorites. I love the trombones. That album's going to always be an inspiration for me. When I feel like I've matched that album in my trombone arrangements, I'll feel like I've really gotten somewhere. They're really kind of standard, but they're still so powerful and solid that... Anyway, I'm not there yet. I'm a third of maybe a quarter of the way there to being good enough as that arranger on that album. He's really good. But anyway, I walked out on that concert too because they just suck so bad. I couldn't take it. Let's see. What else do I put here? Jimmy Page. Oh, I've seen Zeppelin. Well, I saw Zeppelin on their first tour. It might have been their first or second tour. They might have done a really short tour before that, but their first major tour. And Jethro Tull was the opening act, which is great. In fact, in one of my songs, I'm Proud to Be a Hippie, I mentioned that Jethro Tull was the opening act. I see it's not part of the lyrics. But anyway, Jimmy Page is one of my guitar heroes. Even his sloppiness, I just appreciate the fact that he's got feeling. I don't want somebody who's mechanical like Van Halen. I actually saw Van Halen and enjoyed them in concert when Roth was their singer back in the early 80s. Yeah, and it was a good concert, really good concert, very entertaining. But I have never, ever tried to learn one single guitar riff from Eddie Van Halen because he didn't play one single guitar riff that I wanted to learn. That's all there is to it. I didn't want to make my guitar sound like some sort of ringtone or I don't know. Just give me a headache just listening to it. I wouldn't even try to play it. So anyway, just never into that. I've had a couple of guitar players that I've worked with who, of course, were really good at that and could play Van Halen better than Van Halen, perhaps. But I said, when you're doing my guitar solos, you got to be able to sing it. And so I used to tell them, no. Don't give me that song. I don't want a bunch of diddly, diddly, diddly. I don't want that. I want you to sing. If you can sing your guitar solo, I probably will like it. So I had a little trouble wrangling in some guitar players over the years who just wanted to do all their stuff. It's like, no, I don't want your stuff. I want this song to sound good. What makes this song sound good? Okay. Let's see. So, Rory Gallagher. I loved Rory Gallagher. Maybe because he looked a little like me too. Had hair kind of like me, face like me. And I've got a Rickenbacker just like him, tobacco Rickenbacker. Fender Stratocaster. I've been cutting my hair. I'm trimming it. I've been kind of like, ever since my cancer and chemotherapy, I decided to start my life over again. And when I was 16 and I was exiled from the United States, my parents wouldn't let me grow my hair. If my hair touched my ear, it was too long. I used to lock myself in the bathroom and pull the drawer out so they couldn't even pick the lock and wait till the barbershop closed and then I'd let them in. Oh man, my parents, they were glad to get rid of me, I guess, but I never cussed. I never cussed at my parents. I never cussed at my kids. I don't cuss. And just saying hell and damn is a lot for me. But anyway, after my chemotherapy, I just kind of let's start over. Let's start my life over. It was so important for me to grow my hair, so I grew my hair. And if you see pictures of me before yesterday, I just cut it yesterday. I still got my ponytail though. Neat. I can't figure out any reason to cut that off. But so I'm back to the kind of mullet that I used to have in the 80s when I designed my own hairstyle. The last half of the 80s, like, what hairstyle am I going to have? And I decided that if you take a line from my ears across, everything forward of that, I'm going to have about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, and then everything back can be as long as I want. So it's kind of like they call it a mullet, but I don't really think of it as a mullet because, like I said, I kind of do it differently. I just figured that half my head's going to go back and be long, and the front, anything that can rebuild on my face is going to be short because I don't want hair in my face. I don't like hair in my face. I don't like it when I'm performing. I don't like it when I do Kung Fu. I don't like it when I'm eating. So hair in my face, yeah. So I've been wearing my hair mostly in a ponytail anyway for the last year that my hair's gotten really long. So now I'm kind of like, okay, well now I can start wearing it down more because I've actually got in a ponytail right now. But my hair won't get in my face. And that was where I was with tennis too, although I used to wear headbands too. Okay, where were we? No, Rory Gallagher. Rory Gallagher, blues rock. And kind of set a standard for me. Now, when I moved into this place 4 years ago, I actually started, watching videos again and stuff a lot more. And I found some old concerts that I used to see back then in the early 70s, and of Rory Gallagher. And they're really cool, but I was shocked. It was like, really? Because now I don't want to say I can outplay him because what he does very excellent. So I might want to say that he's the master, so I should always look at him as the master. He's always going to be better than me. And in some ways, he always will be. But his songwriting and his lyrics, oh man, I'm so disappointed because now, I'm 40 years ago, I became a better songwriter than him. And it's just a real shame that, God, we could have paired up. If he and I would have been in a band and me writing songs and him and I both singing, what an amazing thing that would have been. Amazing band. But anyway, I love Rory Gallagher. We'll always love him. And when he passed away, they contacted me and I submitted a song, Laundromat, which I had recorded by Rory Gallagher. And they put it on his posthumous, after he'd gone. It was actually a cassette. I don't think they made albums. I think they made cassettes because we're talking the 90s. And and I got a copy of that cassette somewhere, probably. I'm sure I do. They gave me a copy of it, but I'm on there, and then they released that all over Europe, I think. I don't know if it bothered with the United States. They're an Ireland-based band. But yeah, I submitted that, and yeah. And the reason I had that was because I loved Rory. One of the first things I did when I got that job at Bonita Studio, and I had the studio 24 hours a day, I recorded that song. There was a couple other songs I could have recorded. I used to perform with him. Can't Believe It's True. And there's a couple of songs. I actually performed like 3 songs of his for a period of years. So sometimes I give credit to people like him who helped me develop my own songwriting. They became kind of a foundation. They set a level, and then I kind of went on from that. And I really did go on from that because now I'm really disappointed in his songwriting and everything and realize, oh, Rory, you know, he's not like a one-trick pony, but he got to a certain point and he never really got past that. So, but he's an inspiration to me, and he motivated me to be as good as him, and like I said, and then better. And also as a slide guitar player, I got a lot from him. I don't want to say that Sinner Boy, I think it was some of the songs I used to jam to that he did on slide. So him and Johnny Winter were the leaders of my guitar style to some extent. Now Johnny Winter, even more so, because he was even more rock and roll, and he was much more he was a wider spread of talent. Johnny Winter is amazing. He's absolutely amazing. And once again, I don't think Rory Gallagher was ever on heroin. I hope. I don't think so. But they said he had drug problems, so I don't really know the whole story. But at least at some point, and I think he drank all his life, which wasn't good. He's Irish and he's working in bars all the time. So it was natural. It was environmental, but still, I think he would have lived longer and maybe accomplished more without the liquor and evidently without drugs too. He gained a lot of weight in the early 80s. And I saw that happen to a lot of people who did coke a lot for a few years, 2-3 years, and then boom, they stop and then they balloon up because it messes with their metabolism. And he kind of ballooned up, I think, in the early 80s, which made me think, maybe, well, I don't want to say maybe. Okay, let somebody else say that if it's true. But let's see. But Rory Gallagher was an inspiration. Johnny Winter, like I said, he was a real inspiration for me. Anybody else? Oh, Mick Abrams, the original guitar player who was only on the very first album. It's kind of a rare album. It's not even their best album. It's not. I like half of that album. Half that album is really good. Really, really good. It's a good album. It's called This Was. I think they put the title on it because maybe they'd broken up by the time they released the album. This Was Jethro Tull. That's the name of the album. And then they replaced him with Martin Barre. And Martin Barre, I think, was a much more limited guitar player. Whereas I really studied and have learned a lot from Mick Abrams' guitaring back then. In fact, I actually pulled some of it back and it's like, I can't play it as good now as I could then because, I mean, he's a really good, he's got jazz and whatever he is, he's great. He's a great guitar player. And so I want to actually study Mick Abrams again and see if I can pick up some of the stuff that I thought I knew from him, but I realized, man, I don't remember how to play these kind of riffs again so much. So he had a certain style that, but anyway, I can still learn a few things from Mick Abrams. But yeah, he was on that first Jethro Tull album. Yeah, really cool. But Martin Barre, the guy who replaced him, there was never one song that I wanted to learn from him. Not one. So you see, big difference there. But Martin Barre towed the line. He was willing to be a subordinate, not a competitor with the flute player. He didn't want to really be the leader of the band. He was happy to be a hired gun. So he towed the line, and he did a good job. He was a professional guitar player. I'll give him that. But as I said, he never played a song that I wanted to learn on guitar. Lots of songs I want to play on flute. Okay, so those are my guitar heroes. Hey, it went 18 minutes. Okay, let's get out of here. But there we go. The origins of me as a guitar player. Okay, now you got it. Kung Fu Cowboy, out of here.
You hide in the corner and eat your lunch. You know the other kids don't like you much. When you listen to the teacher, you can understand. But you get low and search, you escape his plan. Someplace to hide where life is easy. Someplace you won't have to look busy. Someplace where other kids will not tease me. If life's too hectic, it makes you dizzy. father gave you a note so you'd skip gym. It's quiet in the library away from him. That boy who leaves the love notes in the hall. Now you're afraid of your locker. You wish you weren't so tall. Someplace to hide where life is easy. Someplace you won't have to look busy. Someplace where other kids will not tease me. This life's too hectic. It makes you kiss. It makes you dancing. It makes you dancing. It makes you dancing.
Makes me feel my hands on fork in my hair. It aches my guts. Hold it. Letters on my hair. What's bad, what's good, I don't know. Room. That's nice, bro. What's bad, what's good? Atomic bomb. If I want to talk to her, I have to use the intercom. Really, the test It's been almost an hour. Can I want to talk to her? I have to use the shower. I'm slime with disrespect. Wash it up. Toxic time. She acts like I polluted her. She won't wash. It's just hot. The easiest way to start a fight is to express my fatherly wishes. Start a fight. Daughter, it's to express I'm the same on the telephone. Mom, what was wrong before? What was wrong before? Double the clone. The battle to keep her close is now the battle to keep her phone. Same on the telephone. Rise up in my car. Until she returns.